Hello, welcome to Life Queens, yet another beautiful show on Wednesday, interviewing bespoke guests. So excited to be here. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone that's on. I see you. Hello, everyone. So excited to have everybody here. And another 7 p.m. Thank you so much. I know you could be anywhere tonight, but you decided to come here to Life Queens.
Oh, hello, Queen. How are you?
I'm
Good to
good. How are
see
you, Queen?
you. I'm super good. Thank you, thank you. How is everything?
Long day, but we here, still here.
Okay, yeah. I'm in LA today, so I'm like backwards. So yeah, I had to put my timer on just to be here. I did not want to miss all this sauce. No.
Yes.
The guest coming today? No, no, you do not want to miss.
Are you watching any
Yeah.
of the American news?
Oh my God, yeah. The telly is actually on. I'm like,
Good. I don't watch the news, but today I'm on Irish radio, I'm on UK radio, I'm on American radio. It's interesting
yeah,
times, very
yeah.
interesting results as well.
Yeah. I was shocked, but well, it is what it is.
Yeah,
We've gotten used to expecting and not getting. So let me leave it there.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Hello, Queen. Oh, hello, my African Queen.
Hello, my lovelies. How are we? I'm in South Africa today.
I want to say,
Nice to see you, my lovelies.
oh
Nice to
my
see
God, you're
you too as well.
looking good.
Thank
So
you.
where? Are you in Johannesburg? Are you in Durban? Where? Eastern Cape?
Let me think where the Lord shedding is not today. Then I'll let you know.
Good answer. Good answer. Okay.
Oh,
All right. I think Tenjiro was just here. She's just gonna come back again. Something is going on. Anyway, welcome everybody to Live Queens. And can I just say a shout out to a lot of people who are always here, who have come back to join us here today. We see you in numbers. We are so excited. Welcome to Live Queens. Of course, we are here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and some Sundays at 7 p.m. Thank you so much for taking the time. Of course, we are here for the queen of comedy herself, Queen Khadija. Take it over.
Oh, indeed. The queen of comedy. Yes, we are very excited today because this lady has graced us with her presence, especially for us that are from the Africa UKIE pageant. Yes, but before we bring her on, let us introduce
She's
ourselves. So, where is
here.
she? I can't see on my screen as usual. Yeah. So, hello, Tintiwe. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, Sonny, beautiful queen. So lovely to have all three of you. Wow,
Oh,
this is so nice.
amazing, it is an honor indeed. Yes, but as always, before we do introduce our guest, we introduce ourselves so that everyone who is new here can know who we are. So I'll take it to Queen D to introduce herself, then Queen Ash.
Thank you so much, Queen Khadija. Welcome everybody who's here. We see you in big numbers. And can I say we really appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Of course, my name is Dineo Milwa Murphy, South African, born and bred, living in the Republic of Ireland at the moment. I'm a founder and host of Life Queens, as you can see. I'm Mrs. Confidence at Mrs. Africa UK 2024, and I'm the new curator, founder, and CEO of Mrs. Africa Ireland. Welcome, Queen Tenjiwe.
Right,
Okay,
over to
Queen
you,
Ash.
second princess.
So, my name is Ashley Chingwaro. I'm the second Princess of Africa UK Pageant and Empowerment Programs of 2023. I'm Miss Photogenic of Miss 2023, and I'm the founder of Sparkle of Hope, and I'm a life queen.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Yes, and for myself, I'm Khadija Shamte. I'm First Princess and Miss Charity 2023, founder of Africa UK Umbrella Initiative and brand ambassador and a life queen. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Yes, and now we introduce our guest. We have been in anticipation of this guest because he brings in a spice and sauce. Yes, and I believe Ametia Akoling, a remarkable stand-up comedian known for her sharp wit, relatable humor, and charismatic stage presence. Yes, welcome, Tenjiwe. Yes, and. Yes, and we'll go to the first question that will make you introduce yourself. Yes, yes. Who is Tinjiwe, also known as the First Lady of African Comedy? Yes. Which African country are you from and are representing? And what is one advice, yes, that you would like to give us today? Yes. Welcome, Dr. Tinjiwe.
Tenjiwe is a stand-up comedian from South Africa, from Kwamashu, a township in South Africa. Most people do know Kwamashu. We are very well known, one of the most famous townships. We are known for being good at running away from the I'm a stand-up comedian and I live in the UK now. I've done so for for quite a while. Kwamashu is known for being one of the poorest and most violent townships, but which is why my advice for today will be never let where you are born define where you will end. Your start is not your beginning.
Yes.
Go for your dreams. Your dreams are valid. And even if you grow up in a place with no role models, you're surrounded by wrong role models. Where I grew up, we looked up to people who were, because there were no job opportunities, and people doing well were people who were doing wrong. But it doesn't mean you have to do the same. If you have a dream, if you want to see the world, go for it and actually go and see the world. I feel like traveling the world opens your eyes, and it's the one thing you can spend on without wasting your money. So I say, don't end where you started. Look outside your world where you began and widen your horizon. Your dreams are valid.
Wow. Amazing, Dr. Tenjiwe. That is a beautiful laid out rendition to something that we all look forward to as queens and kings. Yes. And I'll take this over to Queen Mother D to ask her question.
Thank you so much, Queen Khadija. Dr. Tenjiwe. Can I just say how proud I am? I mean, I'm also in Zanzi for real, living in Ireland, and I echo what you said about, oh my God, you need to travel. Traveling just changes your world. It just broadens your horizon so much. I wish it was a subject in school. And I love your concept of don't let your origins define you. I'm from a small village myself, but hey, look at us today. Of course, our paths, all four of us here, our paths crossed when we did the Mrs. Africa UK and Ireland pageant, which you support so much. You know, you're always there, just to co-host and host and make the ladies feel at home. But I wanted to see how you define empowerment in your own line of work, in your own path, because there's so many aspects of empowerment. So what does empowerment mean to you as Dr. Tenjiwe?
For me, empowerment means not looking at your own crown, but looking at the next queen's crown and fixing it. Empowerment means the people who come after me must not go through the obstacles that I went through. It means when I'm 80, sitting and no longer have the energy to go on stage and perform, I must be watching the Oscars and have a young queen say, I am getting this because Dr. Tenjiwe was impactful in my life. So empowerment for me is making sure that the ones who come after me have an easier journey. Like climb the ladder, get up, and make sure you do not push it. You bring all people with you. Empowerment is not my own success, but it's other people who succeed because of me, because I showed them the way. So for me, my success, it doesn't matter how successful I can be, but if nobody is successful because of me, I am not successful.
That is a fantastic answer, and that's a motto that we preach here at Live Queens all the time. But Queen Tenjue, can I just say it's a difficult concept to preach in the diaspora or even among Afro-Caribbean communities. I always say our people feel like there's a finite number of things that are there for Black people, things that are there for women. How do we preach this message of when we get to a room and you find yourself alone there? Make sure that you leave the room open, like you said. Make sure you send the letter down, because unfortunately for people like us, it's so nice and cozy to be the only Black one, the only exotic ones. How do we preach the message of when you get there, there is no glory in being alone?
Number one, as Africans, most of us still have a lot to unlearn before we can start learning anything. We were taught that being the only Black, we're conditioned that being the first Black, the only Black. You never hear anyone say, I'm the first white, I'm the only white. So we need to unlearn all those conditions, the conditioning that exists within our brains. And we need to also realize how important it is to have representation, and how, like animals, we should feel safe in numbers. You are more safe in numbers. And also, there's nothing wrong with not being the first. And the first is never the best. Teachers are the ones, your primary school teachers that people look down upon. They're the ones who produce the best doctors, the accountants. So you don't have to be an accountant to help an accountant. You don't have to, like, the people, most of our mentality as Black people, as even when they help you, it's like, do well, but not better than me. And we need to get out of that conditioning. We need to get out of that thinking. And we need to know that nobody's here forever. Humans are just like a banana. One day, you're not going to be fresh. So you need we need to go back to the originals, how God created us, like plants. And also understand that an apple tree doesn't eat apples. So your apples must still be good and healthy, but for others to enjoy. Because you also, as an apple tree, need water for you to grow. So you don't have to eat your own apples, and you don't have to think you're not making history by being the only one there, by being because we need representation. We need representation in all sorts of life, especially for us who live in the diaspora. We've seen so many things where things that we grew up as normal, things that we understand, other people do not understand, other people do not know. So by closing doors for other people who are like you are also closing doors for your advocates. You are closing doors for people that would understand you. I'll give you an example of, and in one of the hospitals here in the UK, there's an African woman. She went to the hospital, she gave birth, and she had her weave on. And you know how when we have weave, we have our lines underneath, our protective style. So she, obviously, it's hard work. She's been pushing, and as soon as she's given the baby, she's been sweating. So she started, what we do. But all the people in the room, all the professionals were white people from the UK who'd never had any interaction with any Black woman. So they thought she had lost it. They took the baby, they called social services, they thought she was losing it, and she was almost sectioned until another Black professional from the social services was able to advocate and say, no, this is something we do. It doesn't mean something's wrong with our brain. It doesn't mean we are mad. It doesn't mean we are losing it. It doesn't mean it's not a mental thing. It's just our head gets itchy. So
You want to just
imagine if there had not been another Black person, it would have taken her even longer. Because when people have decided you are mad, the more you try to explain yourself out of the madness, you need to just accept that we need other people. Look at you, Queens. Yes, you can do your own podcast. Yes, you can do it on your own, but how easy is it when you have other people? Even bounce ideas from back and forth, bouncing ideas. It makes life easy. We need to unlearn that being the only black is the way to go. We need to unlearn. It's the same thing that we come here, like I'm a South African, but the minute I leave Africa, I'm an African. Nobody comes to you and says, you're South African. We are African. And when you go back in history, we were one until certain people decided to divide our borders and choose it. Like if you were in your father's house and someone came and said, okay, those in the sitting room, now you are this nation. Those in the lounge, now you are in this nation. And those of you in the first bedroom, you now belong this country to this other country, you are now this nation. And then does that mean you're no longer one just because somebody came and decided divide you for their own benefits? So as long as we can, we need to unlearn. I wish we could write our own books, support those who write our own books, read our own history that's written by us. Because as long as the hunter is the one telling the story of how the hunting went, the lion is always going to be at fault. That's what happens when people go to the oceans and they come back and say, I was attacked by the shark. The shark never goes to anybody's kitchen and bite them. It's always go, and the shark is there just chilling and, you know, and then, but when we come back, what do we say? Attacked by a shark. So we just need to unlearn, be confident in who we are, and stop putting pressure. We put a lot of pressure on each other, in Africa especially, when it comes to our religious choices, when it comes to how we choose to look. If you go to an office, the Africans are the first ones who are going to comment on how unprofessional you look because your hair is not the 100% Indian hair. They're the ones who are going to comment if you go to a place dressed in your African outfit, because we've been taught so much to hate ourselves. And obviously, if you hate yourself, you hate everything that looks like you. And sometimes people think, oh, if another person, black person walks here, then I'm going to be caught up, or they're going to compare me, or they might think she's a better black than me. So we need to stop that, and we need to unlearn before we can learn.
Such powerful ministry, also so true. It resonates from so many corners. It's even ridiculous. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think you should write that in a book. Put it in a book somewhere. We'll promote it. Queen Khadija, back to you.
That was absolutely beautiful how you explained what we all know and what we all feel. But let's just check the comments today. There is a following here. We want to know what everyone is saying. Queen Ash, what are they saying or whispering?
Thank you so much, Queen Khadija. Oh gosh, we've got a lot. So Titi says hi. Kingfisher is in the house. Queen Riri says hello with love. And then we've got Helma Masa who says I want to assume that she's Zimbabwean.
She could be Zulu as well. I mean, we do the Ililili ourselves.
Yeah, true. Okay, like Dr. Tenjiwa said, African.
Well, okay. Oh my God. Oh, the message hasn't reached the home. Sorry, Queen D. I'm saying the message hasn't reached home. I'm still thinking I'm South African, you are Zimbabwean.
No, I beg your pardon. I am all African. I don't know about you, girl. I just said I'm in South Africa today, but I'm African. Live Queens welcomes everybody, and BD13, I hope I've said that. BD13, I think that's what it is. Viva Tenjiwe. Annelisa Salam says, Dr. Tenjiwe, Kwamashu to the world. Quincy says, hi Queens, looking lovely as usual. Kuzo says you're right. I think that was advice that Dr. Tenjiwa had given us. And says, Dr. Tenjiwa, thank you so much for your words. Quincy says, lovely message. Wow, great definition, says Queen Riri. Wow, so profound. Hel Mabasa. Queen Z says, that's very true. I think everybody's just trying to agree with all the advice that we've been getting from Dr. Tenjiwe. And then Brex official says Kwamashu must become a district of Zimbabwe. That name sounds like Shona.
Can I answer that, please, before you
yes, please.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brex, for your comment. A very profound comment. I know you're probably saying it in a light-hearted manner, but what a lot of Africans do not know is that a lot of us come from one tribe, the Nguni tribe. That's why we have so many languages that have so many similar words. And sometimes you do not know that until you get out of your own comfort zone, you get out of what you know. You go to, like, you go to Kenya, you go to Tanzania, you find that I can hear what they're talking about. Yoga means snake in language too. Nyama means meat in my language too. There's so many, manzi in my language too. And then when you, because this is not history that they will ever teach us in school. These are things you learn from traveling and from interacting with people from other places that you have not been to. So Shona, well, we all know the history of Zimbabwe, how, well, going back to the times of Shaka Zulu, we don't have time to explain, but do check how Zimbabwe was formed. And so we do have Zulu tribes in Zimbabwe, and even the other tribes, other languages, they all come from one umbrella tribe of the Ngunis. In other parts of Africa, they call them Ngoni, but they are so similar. You go to Malawi, you can hear what they're talking about. You might not be able to hear the whole thing, but because we started as one, and then through dispersing and traveling and going to different parts, obviously languages start to change and dilute, but essentially we are one, and we spoke one language at some point. Just like now, when my son, my very own son, should have a conversation with his friends, I do not know what they are talking about because they've changed the language. True. Just your grandmother doesn't know all these new terms that came with social media and technology. That's how languages change. But you still have an idea what they're talking about. So yes, Kwamashu is a very close relative of Zimbabwe.
Thank God I'm all African. Quincy says, exactly. In my tribe, the Tuaregs, we don't believe in borders. We are one Africa without borders. That's the spirit. Lady Ruksha, thank you so much, says Queen Ash, the makeup. I think it's the South Africa vibe that's just loving me. Thank you. Pearl Billy says, yep-mo, bo. So Life Queens has got a giveaway tonight. Listen in for the competition details during the show. And Breck says, spot on at Dr. Tenjiwa on that African genealogy. And I think that's it. If I did miss out anything, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm in some part of South Africa today.
Amazing, Queen Ash. And if you could just ask your question, and we can get that back.
Yes, please. So, Dr. Tenjiwe, I would like to know, who is your role model? And if within if you were given a 5-year vision, what would you do, given the chance to make the change within the African continent and the diaspora?
Okay. My role model is my grandmother, because I used to have a lot of role models that were people I saw on TV growing up, but as the saying goes, never meet your role models. Then you realize what some people are on TV is not what they are in real life. So that's changed my whole perspective on role models. Some people are not themselves when we see them on TV, they're just reading a script. In reality shows are not so real. So my role model is someone that I know for sure, and I know deep down that I saw work and suffer. I wish she could be my financial advisor, because when you look at how much she earned and how much she was able to achieve versus how much I make and how little I have achieved. I wish like she was still around to just tell me how she did it, and her resilience as well. And she is also my role model, because she wanted for us what she couldn't have. And that's, for me, is something that we should all carry. You all should want the next person to do better than you. She didn't go to school, but she made sure that she worked hard for us to go to school. She made sure that we have a good home. She made sure that we always had food. And as a child, sometimes you don't appreciate that until you grow up and get to even understand. She worked as a cleaner in a hotel. Back those days, they used to call it a chambermaid. And I don't, because you never see them wearing the maid's uniform. They leave the home dressed so nicely, because they carry themselves in such a lady manner. And they come back home dressed and they still clean. But what you don't understand is they get to work, they take off the nice clothes, put on the working clothes, work hard the whole day, put on the nice clothes again, come back home with a smile. And when I started staying in hotel myself, I appreciated it even more, to think this is what she went to do for us, to have the education we have, to have the food that we had, to be able to live in a warm home that we lived in. So she is my role model, and she taught me one thing that I carry with me every day, that when you help someone, you are not helping them, you are helping yourself. And you should not expect them to do anything back to you. The universe will thank you. So when good things happen to you, it's because of those thank yous that you have received. So whenever you go and help someone, never do it because you want something back from them. Never do it because you want them to owe you a favor, but do it, you are investing in yourself. You are doing it for yourself. And also she taught me that when you pray, you do not pray for yourself, you pray for other people too. If you're just praying for yourself, you are selfish. Find people you pray for. It can be strangers, it can be people you know personally, but when you are praying and you just pray for yourself, you are selfish. Pray for others.
Wow.
There was another part of the question.
Sorry?
There was a second part to the question.
Yes, given a 5-year, what's your 5-year vision, given the chance to make a choice to change Africa and the diaspora?
Let's just say there was a limitless budget.
Exactly, that's the whole idea.
Because we're so powerful, but we do not know it. That always makes me feel so bad is that we are united when it comes to useless stuff. Like there's festive season is coming up. You're gonna see so many Black people, not just in South Africa. I thought it was a South African township thing, but it's everywhere. We call it different things. In South Africa, we call it Stokvel. In other parts, they call it village bank. Other parts, they call it rounders, where we put money together, and end of the year, it's either we divide the money, or we buy food, loads of food, or we buy alcohol, which means we can work together. But now, what I would like to see is for us to do exactly the same and build our own schools. For us to do exactly the same, because for me, it never made sense how you can take your child and give them to the person that has shown you they have no vested interest in you and your future, but say, here, educate my child, I'll pay you all my money. And then after 12 years, you expect your child to appreciate and know your culture. They've not been taught by you. Children spend most of their time in school, and they learn and absorb more when they are younger. And then you think at 18, not even 18, at 21, 22, because we don't even have our own universities. If we could get together, have a Stokvel where we all put a little something. In South Africa, for example, if every Black person just put 10 rands a month, in 2 years, we could have our own school, the best schools. We could have our own educational institutions where we educate our children and teach them skills. Teach them skills where they don't, because I feel like a lot of people are unemployed because we are busy investing in learning things that are not necessary. We are learning to speak good English with no agriculture. So you are hungry and begging on the street with your perfect English. And there's a guy out there with 2 words of English, not just African, even in other European countries, Poland, because English is not a measure of intelligence anyway. They are making money because they've got skills. They can build, they can farm. So I wish we could have our own schools, teach skills that will help our children without having to rely on other people. Because I see that a lot, even our graduates will come and say, I haven't had a job for 5 years. What did you study? I have BCom. I have business management. Like, whose business do you want to manage? Your mother sells tomato. Manage that business. Make it bigger. Whose
Yes, yes.
do you want to manage? Your father has been in the taxi industry since you were born. Manage him. Create an empire out of his business. He knows how to do it, but he's not educated like you. So I wish we could learn skills.
You know, Thenjiwe, we're having this very same conversation when we were talking about AI and robots and what AI is going to do for the future, you know, and everybody's obviously scared AI is going to take our jobs, AI is going to take over humanity, blah, blah, blah. But the concept of even having a job and going to somebody's industry and working for them and getting a salary, it's such a weird foreign concept, but it's what we've come to accept as reality. And I see it changing maybe in other parts of Africa, maybe other parts of Europe, but definitely South Africa, there's an obsession with going to university, going to college, going to whatever, so you can get a degree and sit on a desk and get a job that's going to pay your salary, have a personal number and pension. But you know, not a lot of entrepreneurial skills. And here in Europe, what I'm seeing 18-year-olds saying, I'm not going to college. I want to become a plumber. You know, can you imagine somebody there in Pretoria becoming a plumber? Will laugh at him anyway because you're gonna fix toilets. Meantime, that's actually a very, very valuable skill. So I feel like you said already, we need a definite shift about just skills and creation of meaningful jobs instead of finding a way to find a employment and a job. So even myself now, I'm thinking, oh, but I've got all these skills that I can use somewhere else, but I want to go to an office, or when I want my salary and my pension. It's difficult. And if it's difficult for us here, 4 of us here, it's a little bit difficult to say, I'm going to leave my job and go do my passion and do what I like. How then is it for somebody who's 19 years old, who's, you know, just starting out? So it's tough. So I think we need to find avenues to actively dispel those myths.
We do. There are some jobs that are really good with good benefits, and there's some people who are in jobs and that's exactly what they want to be. That's exactly what they prayed for. They make them happy, and that too is fine. That is fine because we're not all the same. And then there are people who are too obsessed with academic education, because education is one thing where we go wrong, I believe, because we always think that education came with the people came from the West, but we were always educated. Our ancestors were always educated. They may not have had St. Sorenso school, but there were always ways of education. There are methods that were used to educate. And the problem with us is we are so obsessed, especially in South Africa, with matric. I know someone who won the lottery, and the first thing they did was to go and write matric. Matric is an equivalent of your it's a high school thing. So many of our sportsmen start when they are much older and they don't have a long career. That's why we say, oh, he was so famous, but he was famous for 3 years. Whereas in the West, most of the people you know that have made it in sports started at the age of 4. That's David Beckham matric. Does Serena and Williams have a matric? Does Beyonce have matric? Because they focused on their talent. For us, I have matric first. I know people who've won things like Britain's Got Talent, and there are so many opportunities that are there for them. But the parent be like, no, you must have matric first before you go. By the time they finish matric, they're no longer relevant. Other people have taken over the industry. Nobody remembers them. We have a 15 minutes brain, like our brains are working so fast. You're out of sight, you're out of mind. And they end up working in a supermarket because their parent wanted matric. You must have matric. When you go and take your child to a private school, do you even go and ask for Mrs. Van Veek's qualification that's teaching your child?
No.
Do you ask? Because
Yeah.
most private schools, especially in Africa, there are no requirements for teachers to have any sort of education. So you don't even know who's teaching your child, but you are closing opportunities for your own children because you want matric. That's why I say we need to unlearn.
Yeah.
We need to unlearn. What I love about here in the UK, they're very much into apprenticeship,
Yes.
which I think is a very good idea. It's good to go to university if that's what you want, and that's what you can afford. If that's what you want and what you can afford. Because a lot of us, by the time we start even getting our job, we have 10 years of debt. That's why you'll find us 10 years, 20 years into being in England, you don't have a house, you're still renting a room because we start with debts.
Yeah.
Our children, but we don't even have money. Like for me, if you have an opportunity for apprenticeship, go for it. But the biggest thing is let us build our own schools. We have so many like African churches in South Africa. We have the Shembe Church. So many people. Where are their schools? Where do you send your children? You're telling me you are a Shembe, proud Shembe, you're sending your children to Catholic schools? Hello? Sending your children to Muslim schools because Muslim schools are good? Where are your good schools if your religion is good?
Yeah.
So we need to invest in our children. And we need to also invest in people's skills. Let's go back to the Shembe Church. Let's go to Sangomas, the African traditional healers. Where you buy clothes you are buying, none of you are making them. You're buying them from China. So a Chinese guy is profiting out of your religion and your tradition. Lobola blankets. Do you have any man from the Zulu or Xhosa tribe that is known for selling lobola blankets? No, it's Indians and white people. So we're not even benefiting from our so-called culture. What's wrong with us?
Right.
What is
From
wrong
now
with-
on, I'm gonna call you Minister Tenji and no more doctor.
I want to know. I want to know what is the meaning of your name, Tenjiwe, before we continue. Hey,
My name means the one you can trust.
Yes.
okay.
I got that because my mother had me when she was 18. So she was the most behaved out of all the teenagers in the area, in the household. She's the one who never went out. And next thing, boom. So it's not they trust me, they trusted her. And then she disappointed them. Growing up, I had an English name as well. Because when I first went to school, in South Africa, you would not be allowed to go to school unless you had an English name. Happened to the great Dr. Nelson Mandela. It was but when he went to school, they were like, you need an English name. So the missionaries gave him the name Nelson. Same thing happened to me. They wanted me to have an English name. So I went home, told my grandmom, at school, they said I can't start because I don't have an English name. So she gave me my first English name, which was Diploma, because my mother was supposed to come back home with a diploma. She came back with me.
Dr. Tenjiwe,
You guys are laughing.
At least it wasn't
No,
metric. At least it wasn't metric. Metric is better than diploma. Diploma is better than metric.
The thing is, because you know, she had just finished matric and she went to nursing school. And when they were starting, you know, they used to do pregnancy tests on black girls before they could continue their career. And that's when they found out she was pregnant with me. So she came back home. Instead of coming back with a diploma, she came back with me. That's why I got the name. But you guys know African names. You know African names because like you need to have an English name. At least mine was diploma. There's a history about it. My cousin, we grew up calling her Ria, Ria, only to find out when we were older we were applying, I think we were applying for passports or something, because we had never bothered to just ask her what's her full name. But when they needed her to have an English name, they asked mother to write her, to give her an English name that she could take to the teacher at school. And her mother saw a box of medication, then she just copied one of the names because she didn't know English. So her name was Diarrhea.
No way, you're joking.
She recently changed it.
Okay.
At what age then did you change from being diploma to Tenjiwe?
Because Tenjiwe has always been my first name, my name that everyone uses. And then we were allowed to go to school without English name. I changed it then. I changed it when I was in high school. When we got freedom. But I've had also it's Tevashni. That's another story. Another day.
Indeed.
And sometimes in my life I went to Indian schools. So I was Tevashni.
Thank you. I was lucky enough to grow up in South Africa. I grew up in the 80s, and my father was in politics. He always said, one day we're going to live in a South Africa where we're going to rule our own self. And he insisted, he said, none of my children are going to have English names. I had a terrible time, obviously, as a child and a teenager in school because I didn't have an English name. But, oh, am I glad that he persisted for all of us. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Back to you, Queen Khadija.
Hi, Dr. Tenjiwe. I think we need to call you for another session because no, you are inspirational and just cracking us up. My ribs. But yeah, we just want to know, as a woman of vision, what is your one problem or issue that you would tackle or are tackling to bring change to the African continent and the vision to get it to fruition and succession?
Oh, that's a hard one, because a lot of change requires money and requires you to be present. But any change is good change, one step at a time, one person at a time. I have a foundation where I help. Well, number one, I'm an ambassador for Southern Africa Embrace Foundation. Please do check it out, where we help women. It started as helping women from Africa to be able to be independent, teaching them how they can make money out of the things that they see every day, like farmers, because sometimes they think they're just farming to eat, but they don't know this is a business. And some people think fruits are only to be eaten. So we teach them other things they can make with things like that. And we advocate for girls, make sure they go to school, because everyone needs, especially basic education. And unfortunately, in some parts of Africa, not only do people not believe, but if your funds are limited, you're gonna educate a boy, because people got to get married and leave them anyway. But what they forget is that when you educate a girl, you educate a village, because a girl is most likely going to be the one that helps you and changes your life. So we educate girls, make sure they go to school. We've got projects in South Africa, Swaziland, Tanzania, Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. And we have recently just had a new wing where we are educating boys. Of course, we realized that there's no point educating girls, but then they end up with boys that nobody has educated and helped. So you need them you need to help both of them. And sanitary drives as well for women and girls, mostly women who have just given birth in rural hospitals, because nobody thinks of them. They don't think, if you can't even afford food, how are you going to afford sanitary? And we all know as women, when you've given birth, that's the one thing that you really need, and you need it's good, clean, and safe. Because we all have worked with charities. We know how bad it is in some places, and we do that. And I do a lot on my own as well. I do little things like all the dresses I wear when I do shows, when I go to awards. I always give them to matric students because not everyone can afford prom nights. So it doesn't have to be big things that you do. It can always be smallest things, but it changes people's lives and it makes people believe in humanity. So instead of having them just sitting in the wardrobe, you send them home. There's always someone who will use it. And I think as people in the diaspora, if we can say, because yes, there are more opportunities in the diaspora than in Africa. There are more jobs because even when you do a job that you would never think of doing at home, you still can make a living. You can still make a decent living. You can change your family's life. You can take your school. You can feed your family. You can build your house. You can do so many things just as a cleaner or just as a carer or any other job. Whereas at home, sometimes you cannot do certain jobs because even if you do it, it doesn't pay well. It doesn't pay well. The pay is so rubbish. So what I always advocate with a lot of my friends and is that for every 5 years you've lived overseas, have an African you've helped to come overseas. It doesn't have to be someone you know. It doesn't have to be your family or your relative. Your friend could be a stranger. And now it's so easy to meet people because we meet them online. But always help someone who's willing to help themselves. Because we have helped people who come here and say, it's too cold. It's boring. And because that was never their dream. Find someone with a dream and help make their dream come true. And for every 5 years you've been overseas, have someone you have helped to change the course of their life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we all have big visions, but just do what you can. If, for example, you say, I would like to do that, but I can't afford buying people matric dents, I don't buy them. I just give them the ones I already have. Because these things we wear one. You're going to wear the same dress to, like the dresses you've worn to all the beauty pageants. Are you going to wear the same one if you go to another beauty pageant? No. For someone who's listening, say from home, or even people in the diaspora, how about this year when you buy your Christmas groceries for your family? We all know that one family that is struggling. Buy them groceries. Spend 1,000 to make their Christmas. Buy them groceries. We all know that one child, it doesn't matter, their mother is misusing the money, but you're not doing it for the mother. Buy them school uniform in January. When your friends are buying that bottle of Hennessy, say, I'm saving this money for someone's school uniform. I'm saving this money. I'm not going to have champagne. I'm going to have a Prosecco because I'm buying someone school shoes. Just those little changes, they make a difference. And once a child grows up knowing that someone believes in them, they're most likely to have a better future.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's actually planting seeds, and from it you get fruits. That's so beautiful, Dr. Thenjiwe. Yeah. Queen Mother D, do you have a question for the lovely Thenjiwe?
Yeah, Tangerine, this is so fantastic, man. This is so inspirational. We're going to shamefully reach out to you next year because we've just had a high school that we helped host their first matric dance back in South Africa. And they came back on Sunday, this last week Sunday, to come and tell us just how it went. So we're hoping that we can spread that seeds, among well, from my village in Zirast, in the northwest. And we're hoping that we can collaborate with this foundation in South Africa and take it out of the northwest, take it all over rural South Africa, just have children experience prom. I didn't experience prom myself. The first time I went to a formal event, I think I was in medical school, and I didn't know people did things like that, and I would love to send that message back home to rural girls. Let's get to the fun part. I'm going to switch my question up a little bit, Queen Khadija. I want to get to the fun part because I live in the Republic of Ireland. I don't know if the Queen of Comedy here has been to Ireland, but it is beautiful. And they say once you go Ireland, you never go back. Okay. So I understand. A little birdie told me you're going to be doing some comedy work here in Dublin. If you want to just tell us a little bit, because it's got to do with the prize that people can win, which we're going to announce tomorrow. So tell us a little bit about this comedy tour.
I am so excited. So for the since last year was 2023. Yes, I've been on tour with my show, The Mandela Effect.
Yes.
Hey. And I've gotten an opportunity to be invited to come to Ireland and Dublin in
Dan Larry.
I'm trying to pronounce that word. Oh my word.
It's Dan Larry.
The way it reads it like Dan, like, yeah, Dan Larry.
Yes.
Learned to pronounce it yesterday because my friend Pumzile told me, hey, Dan Larry. I was like, where's Dan Larry? Said, where you are coming to do a show. I was like, oh, I was struggling to pronounce it. Which is good. We learned that sometimes people don't mispronounce our names just because they are being rude. Sometimes we just don't know how to. I'm coming this Sunday, the 10th. One of the best comedy festivals in the world, Dan Larry Comedy Festival. There are going to be many other shows. So I need my people to show up and come and support. And as I always say, when you come to support me, you're not supporting me. You're supporting the next African comedian. Because if I do well and I sell tickets, then next year they don't want me next year. Like I've been there. They're not going to call me, but they can use that space to say, let's call another African because the one who was here did very well. But if people show up, they're going to say, these Africans are just messing up our money and our budgets. We can't call them again. So when you are helping, you are not just helping me, but you're helping the ones who come after me. It's Dan Larry. It's an hour of comedy. Mandela Effect is one of my proud projects. It's an hour of me on stage telling jokes, but I promise you, you're gonna laugh, you're gonna learn, and you're gonna walk out a different person, a better person, because I believe in edutainment. I don't think we should just laugh, we should laugh and learn. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to the last time I went to Dublin, I got there at night, performed and came back. It was during, when we just opened up after the pandemic, and I was preparing other people. So today, like this Sunday, I'm so excited because it's just me on stage for an hour doing what I do. And those who always want to ask, can I bring my can I bring my partner, but it doesn't speak isiZulu? No, when I do performances, I perform in English. It's going to be in English. So feel free to bring your people. And actually, the more diverse we are in the room, the better the show becomes.
We are coming there in numbers. We are coming from Donegal. We're coming from Belfast, Derry, Galway, Dublin, all over. We are taking over. You will think you are in Mzansi when you are there, even. Just be prepared.
I'm really, really excited because when they called me for the show, I thought I had finished. I was like, okay, I'm done with this tour. And they were like, no, how can you be done when you haven't brought it to Dublin?
Yeah.
So
no.
You guys are in treats.
No, we're ready.
Oh my
we're ready. Dan Larry is also very cool. Dan Larry is going to remind you of Cape Town. It's very coastal. It's very nice. It's very chill. There's a hippie vibe to it. There's a nice afterlife. So it's going to be nice. So we're really, really looking forward to it. Yeah. And for everybody watching tonight, Dr. Tenjiwe is kind enough, of course, to do a ticket giveaway. 1 ticket to somebody coming to Dan Larry this Sunday. Hit us up. Go on the Live Queen social media because we've been telling you how you can win these tickets. But one of the few things is you have to be liking Live Queens. You have to like Tenjiwe Comedy. Follow the post, obviously, and that tells you how to win the ticket, and make sure that you tag one person. We're going to be announcing the winner 12 o'clock tomorrow, Irish time, London time. And it's not the only ticket you can win. There are 2 other tickets for the same show that's going to be happening in the UK later this year in February next year. So please go to Live Queens. There's an ad there about how you're going to win this ticket, but you don't want to miss this. The first...
It's a pair of tickets.
Of tickets, yeah. So the first 2 people to obviously give tag Live Queens and tag a friend And that's how we're gonna select. You're gonna announce this at 12 o'clock tomorrow. But super, super, super excited to have the Queen of Comedy come here to the Emerald Land. Back to you, Queen Khadija.
All right, you'd better be you, people. So come on, get to typing. Yeah. And just one last question from Queen Ash before we end the show.
Thank you, Queen Khadija. So you know what? Actually, so can I just say something? I found out. So 2 weeks ago, I Googled how to make. I've been looking for other streams of income, and I Googled, and one that came up was a funeral mourner, and it actually came up to £40 an hour that I can get paid. Is it 40 or 45 pounds that I can get paid? However, then I was actually doing my research on Dr. Tenjiwe. Then I found out she also says she's already employed. And I'm like, the girl has taken my job.
We need more people.
Right?
The best jobs you can ever do.
But
We
I
need
don't
more
want to
people.
do it in South Africa because I don't know how much runs I'll get. Let me stay here.
And also in South Africa, they will outcry you.
Oh yeah, because actually they did say you have to be able to cry and, you know, like act like you're the person that's lost whoever's passed on. So yeah.
Because this is something I do. This is something I do. It pays very well. I've been doing it for years. That's a job.
Was it not
one of my favorite jobs I've ever done as funeral crier, and also rent a friend. People can rent you as their friend.
Hi.
Sometimes they're going to, like with Christmas coming, there are going to be a lot of those opportunities because people lie to their colleagues at work that they have friends. And then when
it wasn't a joke. I thought it was a joke.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a real job and they pay very well. So with funeral criers, it depends. There are three, the company I work for, which you can Google, Funeral Criers London.
No, I saw it. It's somewhere in London, very close to me. Yeah, I saw it.
Different packages. So it depends on the package you are sent on. There's silver, gold, and premium. I think it's diamond. So you cry according to how much you are getting paid. It starts from £40 an hour. Sometimes it's because people's families are just too far and can't be bothered. I've been to one where the daughter asked me to go and cry on her behalf because her mom died when she had already bought her flight ticket to go to a holiday in Spain with her boyfriend. So I went to cry on her behalf. And some people have had too much water. They can no longer like use their face. So you cry on their behalf. Sometimes they want diversity. Sometimes someone who was maybe a politician but didn't have black people in their life. So those ones pay even more when they hire you for diversity, so that it seems like the person had, you know.
Yeah.
Almost.
You know what? When I saw it, I thought, no, this can't be real. Until I Googled the company and everything. So yes, it is real. Please hook me up with a job. I'm in.
Almost got fired because you know me, because I've attended so many funerals in Africa for free. Well, sometimes for the food. And you're telling me £40 an hour just to cry. Me, I cried. I was ready to throw myself in the grave. But then they said I overcried. So I was on suspension for 2 weeks.
Hey. Right. Queen,
anyway,
let
me just ask my question before I even say anything further. So, as an MC, how has this industry shaped you? And what advice would you give to the girl or boy child?
Being an MC is actually harder than being a comedian. Because when I do stand-up comedy, people have bought tickets to come to a stand-up comedy show. It's people with a sense of humor, they've come to laugh. Being an MC, not everybody cares for comedy. Not everybody wants to laugh. Because we're not the same. I don't like football. Some people don't like rugby. Some people don't like karate. We're not the same. And even when people love comedy, sometimes it's like music. It has different genres. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you don't like comedy. Maybe you like other comedians. Just like some of us like jazz. Some of us like Mapiano. Some of classic music. So when you are an MC, you're in a room full of people who didn't come to look at you, who didn't come to listen to your stupid jokes, who are here for something else. So sometimes their mentality is like, hurry up, we came here to see Miss Africa UK being crowned. So it's more difficult. You need to be patient. You need to be able to read the room. You need to know not to be welcome on stage. And you need to find out about the show, have facts. If we don't assume things, we make sure, because the whole event relies on you. Imagine being at a wedding and forgetting the bride's name and saying the wrong one, and it's the groom's ex. So being an MC a lot of responsibility, and you have to be careful what jokes you are saying, because they are always people and they always have their personal, like, inside conflicts. And like when you do a gig, I'll tell you about a corporate gig in a bit. So when I do stand-up comedy, it's me, my jokes, people have paid to come and listen to jokes. We're good. Stand-up, do emceeing as a stand-up comedy, as a stand-up comedian, you cannot be funny because you've already been introduced as a stand-up comedian. But don't be too funny. People are not here for comedy. Don't steal the show. This is not about you. And also, comedy, also, our tongues are loose. We talk about everything. Nothing is off limits. But when you are in an MC, you have to keep reminding yourself, I have to be careful. I can't just say everything as I think it. You have to be careful what you say. Don't overstep your boundaries. Don't overstay. Don't overshare. So it's much more difficult. It requires discipline as well. And being on time is important, because how does the show start without the MC? And you have to be very, very patient and understand the show is not about you. Understand about other people's feelings. Let's use Miss Africa UK, for example. Some people are there for a competition. They are nervous. They want to make sure. So you can't be wanting attention to be on yourself. You're not the star of the show. You are just there to assist and enhance how the overall outcome of the show. So it's not, but it's a very good job. It's a very good career choice. If you are well-spoken, you can do it. You don't have to be a comedian, and you just need to be confident and reliable. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. There are people who do emceeing as a full-time job. I've got a lot of friends who don't even do stand-up comedy anymore. They just MC weddings every weekend.
Done.
So it's a good career choice. If you know you are just, I want to perform, but I'm not sure what I want to do. I think being an MC is a good thing you can do. Start with your family events, friends events. Do it like you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Do it professionally, so that by the time you get your first professional job, you've rehearsed, you are free. Use your friends and family to rehearse on them. I was going to say about corporate gigs, also another very hard one for us, especially comedians, because sometimes people are there because their boss likes comedy and they've decided to bring a comedian, but people don't really care for comedy. They have places to go to. My recent one that I recently did, I went to some company dinner, some very nice formal thing, and you know what they did to me? Just before I went on stage, they told them that 50% of them were being retrenched. And they didn't even say which 50%. And then they said, and now you're a comedian. Are you an audience? You don't even know which 50% you sit on. At least if they said which 50%, I would still have a 50%. But even then, how do you laugh when you know the person sitting next to you has just lost their job? It's not an easy job.
Contradicts, yeah.
Not an easy, but it's doable. And as Africans, we are storytellers. We grew.
Yes, indeed.
We are storytellers. So let us find a way to tell those stories. You don't have to wait to perform on stage. You're funny. You have a camera. You have a phone. If you are watching this, you have a phone or at least an access to a phone. Record yourself. Record those things. Those of you who are not unemployed, take advantage of social media. Oh, one of the other things I do, I mentor children, not children, girls, women, who are on social media. I started as a YouTube mentor. I was appointed by YouTube, but when it ended, I decided to continue doing it on my own. I've got 30 girls from around the continent of Africa that I mentor, teach them how to make money on YouTube, how to just make their channels better and monetize, because money on social media and people are sitting on money without realizing. So
I have a
amazing.
controversial question, Queen Tenjiwe. You know, am I the only person who's, you know, it's tragic what's happening in America, but am I the only person that thinks comedy is just about to get better in America? I am so excited about the comedy. I know it's terrible for humankind, but I am so excited.
The comedy gods are out to play. The comedy is about to write itself. The comedy is about to write itself. The comedy gods, but then also it's telling us how people really think. It's telling us it's telling us a lot. So it depends. Are we using our ears to listen? Look at what's happening in South Africa. We are a majority as Black people, but it looks like we are slowly getting recolonized.
Yeah.
Because we do not support each other. We find fault within each other. How can we have a GNU when we have like majority Black people who lived during apartheid? Corruption and greed and hate for each other is what is putting us back to what our forefathers died for. So it's our fault for self-hate, and you can't expect a country where Black people are a minority to succeed where we are failing, where we are a majority.
That's true.
Land. And
That's
we
true.
need to know that we're not always going to be the presidents at the same time. It's this thing of, yes, I want you to do better, but not better than me. It's this thing of, you know, even with this video, most people who are going to dislike it are people who know us personally. Most people who bully on social media are people who wish they were doing what you are doing, are people who can't believe that your dreams have really actually come true, that you are actually doing it. So that's why I believe we need to unlearn so that we can learn to love ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
Queen Khadija, it's almost 10 past 8 or even 10 past 10 in South Africa. I see a lot of South Africans here.
Right. Dr. Tenjiwe, I think we could listen to you forever. But yes, we've come to that time where on Live Queens, we do plug everything that is amazing that is happening. So we hand it to the Queen of Plugs. That is Queen Mother Dineo. Over to you.
Of course. Okay. So already we know about Dan Larry in Ireland. Irish people, come on, y'all. You know, go to the Live Queens website. We've plugged a Queen Tenjiwe's comedy show. Tickets are only €15, people. Come on, €15 is even less than the, you know, Irish cost of living is so high. That's not even your lunch. It's less than what you buy for lunch. So we'll see you on Dan Larry on Sunday. Get the tickets. And if you want a chance to win the one ticket to Dan Larry this Sunday, go to Live Queens, like comedian Tenjiwe_comedy, like Live Queens, and just tag a friend so you can win the tickets. And of course, the Queen is going to be performing in London as well. The dates are all on the website. And in terms of plugs, the show that Queen Tenjiwe here usually MCs, Mrs. Africa, UK and Ireland. The applications are open for the next Queen and King of 2025. So go to their website. It's Africa UK pageant.co.uk. The applications are open. They're going to be open all the way till March, but you want to get in there early so you can be a finalist. And of course, their sister company in Ireland, Mrs. Africa Ireland, has its inaugural Mrs. Africa Ireland 2025. The finals are going to be on the 30th of August. Applications are open there as well. If you reside in the Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland and you have some African origin ancestry roots, go put in your application there. And last one, but not least, Queen Riri is here in the audience. Queen Riri is going to be competing in the Miss Caribbean Commonwealth finale on the 30th of November. All the live queens are going to be there. We're looking forward to meeting everyone. If you haven't seen the live queens in person, you want to meet us, you want to ask us a couple of questions, can't meet us there. We're going to be in London
I'll give us
for the Miss
endorsements and sponsorship.
Hey.
Just squeeze that in.
And that's all the plugs. Back to you, Queen Khadija.
Yes, thank you so much, Queen Mother D. Over to you, Ashley, for our next guest for Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Queen Khadija. So next Wednesday, same time on Live Queens, we have the amazing Collins Matovu, who is not only an event designer, planner, and decorator, but he is so much more than what he seems to be. So come back and watch us back on next week, Wednesday.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So, Dr. Tenjiwe, do you have one last inspiring word to share with us before we end the show?
Buy tickets to my show.
You heard it here. You heard what you said. Go buy those tickets and let's meet there. Yes?
We need each other. We need to support each other. And I'm proud of you queens for being the queens that fix each other's crown. I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope people will learn from you. I'm learning a lot from you as well. You must keep it up. And I hope this platform grows because it's such an important platform for us to have. And come and join my YouTube mentorship because I want to see you on YouTube. I want to see you making
We're coming.
Becoming with there.
Right, they could see Shambaz here would like to attend the London comedy shows. Please, if you could let let us know the venue, date, and location. Yes, I think if you follow Tenjiwe _comedy, you will get all the information there. If not, just DM her or Live Queens, and we shall be able to assist you.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can still win the ticket. If you go to Live Queens and look at the ad, there's an ad that tells you specifically what dates, what city, and what's going on. Go to Live Queens at live _queens. All the information is there. And of course, after this show, we're going to be plugging all of Dr. Tenjiwe's shows, the Irish one and the London one later this year and next year. So, you know who to follow if you want that information.
Yes, amazing. And for all of you in the audience there that have typed, we see all your comments, and we are most appreciative for everything that you're sending here with good, positive vibes as well. If we have not answered your question, you can DM us, and we shall reach out and answer your questions. But for us from Live Queens, we can only say bye. Bye until Wednesday.
See you Wednesday.
Thank
She's saying
you,
Ireland, slan.
Right, bye-bye. No.